That was a tough one. No two ways about it. Welcome. It's episode 31 of LAFC Plus. That was a tough one. Mario Ruiz, how are you doing, buddy? Have you recovered since that match?
Yeah, it's been a few days now. We have recovered. But yeah, like you said, it has been a tough one. It's actually been a tough stretch, Dave, for the Black and Gold in the last 5 matches. Only 1 win, a draw, and then 3 losses, right? The loss in the Leagues Cup final, which really hurt, and then the loss in Carson, which still kind of stings. But, you know, there's a chance to raise a trophy in less than 10 days, Dave. So that is big. That is something that the team is all about. The team is all about winning trophies and bringing trophies to Los Angeles. So we look forward to that Open Cup final and then just riding into the MLS Cup playoffs with a lot of momentum and a lot of health, hopefully.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. It's a great point. Obviously, you got to turn the page and look to the things that are coming up, which is a final included in that. But we do have a match coming up in just as we do this show, coming up in essentially days. And if you're listening at a later it could be hours. Heck, that game might have already occurred. So you have to move on quick. And it's funny because, Mario, my Cleveland Browns won on Sunday. So I was feeling miserable until then. Yeah, I really was. I was feeling miserable about this loss to the Galaxy until then. And then that's how the life of a sports fan is, right? We know this. It's not just obviously soccer. I prefer soccer over everything, LAFC over everybody else, but I love the Browns, you know, like, so I saw the Guardians win, you know, so it's like, oh, they won. Okay, good. And then you watch the Browns game, and I almost called it a match. That's how into soccer I am compared to the other sports, right? You ever do that with your buddies? Like, oh, yeah.
I do.
Did the Browns win that match? It's like, what?
Yep.
They look at you
Or
weird.
did the Dodgers win 4-0? Same thing, right? I do it all the time.
It changed my outlook, you know, and I hate to say that because, it still hurts, and we'll have to talk about it here, no doubt. And, you know, the Galaxy have bragging rights for the moment, no doubt. They did it.
It hurts. It hurts. And I've been hurting too, because look at my eye. I mean, my eye is a little bit messed up. I got like a sty or something in my eye. So I'm wearing these glasses to hopefully cover it up a little bit. Oh no, I think I might be like allergic to Carson or something. That might be it.
You know what, Mario? You probably didn't have to tell anyone, because most people probably aren't watching on YouTube. They're probably listening to this, although you can watch us on YouTube each and every week. You can download the podcast there or watch it on YouTube. But, you know, check us out everywhere. Give us a review. Might as well throw that in now. Subscribe, rate, review, all those things you say about podcasts. We really appreciate it. The show is doing well, and you guys are great. Leave comments if you want. We can take it. If you got some suggestions, you don't like something, you can especially do that on YouTube, I think. But you look good, Mario. You look good. Glad you're feeling all right.
Looks like I got in a fight with Canelo or something.
Yeah. Somebody has to. Rest of the weekend go all right or what?
Yeah, everything else went well, of course. Yeah, no complaints.
Yeah, well, how's your little Ronaldo doing? You got a goal scorer now, although he likes to pass the ball more. But you know, I get it. But
he does a little bit of both. Actually. So Gio, you know, he's scoring goals and passing and dribbling, distributing, sending the through balls. So yeah, he's doing a little bit of everything.
I've seen the videos. The way LAFC looked in the first half, they looked like Gio playing good soccer. It was, you know, we hate to say it. We have been saying this a little bit more lately, though, about a lot of games, good and bad for LAFC. Tale of two halves, in a way.
Tale of two halves, you're right.
In this case, it really fits. Let's get into it. LAFC lose at Dignity Health Sports Park on Saturday night. Tough loss, 4-2. They take the season series, which was never in doubt. Obviously, we were looking for the sweep, though. But it just didn't happen. Looked great, 45 minutes. You know, I got on social media, I got on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it at halftime during our break. And I even was like, keep going. You know, this is a great 45, but we know.
Yeah.
Crazy things happen in these games against the Galaxy. We've seen it both, you know, good and bad. And it was bad the second half, bottom line. And the Galaxy poured on 4 unanswered after we dominated the first half. They dominated the second, got a few more goals. Red card to Lewis O'Brien. Tough tackle there. This wasn't a kind of red card where he's angry or he's trying to get revenge and the game is out of hand. Just trying to make something happen. Bad tackle.
Yeah.
He'll have to sit out for that. And the Galaxy deserved it. Bottom line, your initial thoughts, Mario. You saw it, as we all did, first half, and then talk us through. What do you think? What would you see?
First off, the intensity and the environment on the road is magnetized greatly in these derby matches when you're the opposing team coming in to Carson. When it comes to these Clásicos, you got to be just locked in, like mentally locked in, and stick to that plan and stick to trying to win the game for the entire 90 minutes. You got to come out and close out the games as well, because you know that both of these teams, they could be down 3-0, 2-0. It does not matter. They're going to not give up. They're going to give it their all. These two teams are too talented going forward with their attacks. And it just looked like the boys, like the black and gold, came out to protect the lead coming into that second half instead of just closing it out. We know that 2-0 lead is the most dangerous scoreline in football, especially in this rivalry. So you got to come out and get 3 or 4 goals for the most part in these matches.
And it certainly is. It's the most dangerous scoreline when you get it in the 15th minute, as well.
That's
we're up 2-0 in 15 minutes. Like, it's not that dangerous in the 91st minute. Okay, I'll take 2-0, right? We know that. But in the 15th minute, you're right. It's still game on. The next goal changes everything. LAFC couldn't get that third goal, unfortunately, but and I think that would have done it. If LAFC gets another goal early in the second half, not that they had any big chances to the Galaxy's credit.
Giroud shot off the post that hit the inside of the post. Enough. That one right there, he's not going to miss that very often. I guarantee you, he's not going to miss that one again this season.
And is that really
that one right there would have? No, I know
that's a game over, but is that even really a miss? He rockets a one-timer off the post. You know what I mean? Like inches either way.
Inside of the post too, so it could have went back into the goal, past the goal line, but it did not. Unfortunately, that would have changed the game dramatically.
Oh, absolutely. That's the game over right there. Yeah, I agree. But that's the way it goes. They're let off the hook there, the Galaxy, and they take advantage. And here's the credit. Well, we'll get into some of that as well. Here's the bottom line. Mario, I think you summed it up brilliantly. Again, LAFC were working their guts out. There's not like, they just stopped playing or anything. That's stupid. It's not that. It's a lot of factors. And I honestly hate to do this. As crazy as it sounds, I think this is less about LAFC and more about the Galaxy that night. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I want to have you listen to this, and then we'll play some Elias Sanchez. This is the goal that, in my estimation, changed everything on the night. And this is a goal from Edwin Cerrillo of just magnificent quality.
On the ground to Puig in the area, tries to backheel it to Reus, who was inside, but deflects back to Puig. Top of the area, Cerrillo settles. Shot from 22 and in. Edwin Cerrillo with a bomb, and it's tied at 2. And just like that, the Galaxy with 2 quick goals in succession, and this game is all even. Edwin Cerrillo laces that one from 22 yards out, and no way Lloris was getting to that one. It's his first goal of the season, and this game is even.
Now, I play that, Mario, not because it's a great call. Rather, it's not, because it's the Galaxy scoring. You can tell I'm just ticked off at the time. Let's be honest. But I got to be square. It was 2-2, and I knew there the Galaxy are an entirely different team. Okay? Again, it's 1 goal. Things could have happened in that match, but you could tell. Again, it's not because Edwin Cerrillo scored a laser. To me, it was the fact that they battled back, and then they did not quit when they were down 2-0. Right? They could have folded up shop. They could have just assumed, well, this LAFC team, we just can't beat them, which it looked like they couldn't for 5 halves this season. And they didn't for 5 halves. They didn't quit. And Cerrillo, when they scored that goal, they were not – now, the fans were going nuts, of course. It's 2-2.
Yeah.
That was an equalizer. The Galaxy were celebrating, but the Galaxy knew that they were going to win that game. You could tell.
And all the momentum
that happens
in the world,
sometimes. Yeah, when you're on the road in a tough place and you're playing a great team, that happens. Sometimes a game slips away from you, and it absolutely did. But it wasn't as much about LAFC. Now, did they play well? No, in the second half. Of course not. The Galaxy did, though. You have to – nobody wants to give your opponent credit, Mario. You know that. It's sports. But you have to. The entire way I look at this team shifted right there. And a lot of that's Marco Reus, yes. And
I was going to say, the 3 matches prior to that, LAFC won.
Yeah.
This game is different because there's a
Absolutely.
guy by the name of Marco Reus. Is he the factor that changes this Galaxy squad?
Yes, and here's why. They can play Cerrillo as the defensive midfielder, and they don't play Brugman and Delgado, right? Now, those guys are fine players, and they can come off the bench.
Yeah.
But they made that change, and credit to Greg Vanney, who I don't think Greg Vanney is the best coach in MLS. He's a perfectly fine coach. He's a good coach, but he made a good change. And when you have Royce, you can do this. Cerrillo now becomes the only defensive midfielder, essentially, but now you can link up and let Puig do even more of what Puig wants, which is give you the ball, but I want it back before you even have it. That's what Ricky Puig wants. Yes, I'm going to give it to you, teammate, but you better pass it back to me before it really even hits your foot. And Marco Reus can do that and will do that and can see that kind of style. He sees the game the way Ricky Puig does. He's at that level and then some, right? So no disrespect to Puig's teammates, and sometimes they can do it. I mean, these are professional athletes, but they don't always want to play that way like he does. Royce knows what kind of player Puig is, and he can facilitate that. It wasn't like Marco Reus was dominant. He was good, right? But he made Ricky Puig even more dominant than Puig can be because we've held him back. Let's be honest. We've held Ricky Puig down. Couldn't stop him in the second half. There was no stopping that Galaxy team because Royce is getting more comfortable with that because of the way they can play. And in fairness, because Gabriel Peck had more of the ball than Paintsel did in the other 2 matches in this one, right? Paintsel was unavailable. I told you that might be a problem for us, actually. Now, it turned out Sergi Palencia was out, which those 2 had been locked up. Paintsel and Palencia got in late. He was a little banged up, so he didn't start. Yeah. But the Galaxy are no longer the old LA Galaxy. Even as decent as they had become, good team, really good team, right? This team with Royce, if they are allowed to do what they're, from Vanney, he's got to be smart about this. This is a whole different beast.
I agree.
We found that out.
Agree,
I mean, in 45 minutes, they flipped the switch. That's the bottom line. And sometimes that happens.
Yeah, at halftime, that's what happens. That 2-0 lead is so tricky. And I think LAFC did come out, maybe try to, game plan to protect that lead and maybe hit him with the counterattack and put the game away with the third goal in that second half. And then from there, it'd be maybe a 4-0 win. But that third goal just never came. And it was the lack of aggressiveness from LAFC because in the first half, when that whistle blew to start the game, the intensity, the aggressiveness of LAFC, Bawanga, Giroud, Matty Bogusz, everybody in the midfield, the defense, everybody was just so focused, dialed in. And you saw what happened 2-0 early on, and they held that to up until halftime. But the second half was a lot different. Lack of aggressiveness. And here is Ilie Sanchez talking about the lack of aggressiveness.
Not being aggressive, not being dominant. It's you put yourself... you expose yourself defending deep, and it's not in our game model. So when you go far from who you are, it's then you let things to lack and see how the outcome is, and we were not we went far from controlling the game in the second half, and we put ourselves in a dangerous position.
Yeah, he's not wrong. And it's interesting about the game model he's talking about, right? They went far from the game model.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about going forward now is how does that game model change against the Galaxy and maybe even against like really good like Columbus? How does that game model change now? Or does it? Like, this is going to be the fascinating thing. I think these 2 teams are on a collision course for the Western Conference Final. We'll see.
I agree.
I mean, you never know about seeding and where everything ends up that way. But they're the 2 best teams in the West. And it's going to be interesting. I'm fascinated to see what Steve and the staff come up with to change that. Because the Galaxy are going to be like, well, let's play this way until they stop it now, right? We were playing our way for 5 halves. And it was perfect, essentially. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
We had no trouble with the Galaxy this season up until the second half. I mean, 5 halves of dominance, really.
Mm-hmm.
And Vanny smartly made some changes or didn't panic, quite frankly. Maybe they played better too, and they didn't give the ball away. That is, but we also backed up a little bit, and they saw that. They took advantage. And now it's a matter of how do you adjust that. And I think, look, the best teams do. And the best teams do adjust, and the best teams get it done. And we have. So I pity Austin here in a couple of days as we record this podcast. I got to be honest with you. It's never usually easy after we have a disappointing performance to then play us the next game. So we'll see how that goes, though, because we'll talk more about that coming up. But yeah, it's a tough one, Mario. But we know the cliches. I'm trying to work it this way. And I hate to say it this way. Look, it looked like we were going to win 3 straight against them, but that is tough to do against a good team. We know this, and that is brutal to do in the regular season, 3 in a row. And they were not going to roll over, to their credit. And that's why I say this game was really more about the Galaxy, that they impressed me. They are not just some good team anymore, right?
Right.
This team has more defensive ability than people think. Yes, we scored 2 great goals on them, and Denis Bouanga is that good, but Jalen Neal, he felt it. He was embarrassed in the first half, and he toughened up in the second half. Let's face it. So to his credit too, that's a young defender, but he's an up-and-coming defender, and he's tough, and he got embarrassed. But he didn't get embarrassed for 90 minutes, right? And he got the last laugh. So I learned a lot about the Galaxy. LAFC will be fine. I didn't learn that much about the LAFC, right? But we're fine. But the Galaxy are legit.
But Dave, 3 wins, though, out of the last 4 matches for LAFC against the Galaxy. That's nothing just to overlook.
No.
These battles are always, draining mentally. These battles are always physically draining, grueling. You got to give it up to Steve and the group for handling those 3 wins out of the last 4 matches with the Galaxy. Because that, like you say, that is a very talented team. That's a great team to do that against your derby rival. That is awesome. And also another positive was Matty Bogusz. He literally just got off of his international debut with Poland on Thursday. Yeah. He starts game planning and starts training with LAFC on Thursday. And then Friday, they're gearing up for the game. And then Saturday's the game already. And he bags his 14th goal of the season. That's 14 big goals for Matty Bogusz.
And I'll tell you this, I blame MLS for some of this. Again, I understand, it's a schedule. You got, when international windows are, right? Yeah. Now, sometimes we had a game that was postponed in Houston due to horrific weather. They put it in the international break. We're going to have one against Vancouver that had to be moved to the international break. Okay. Yeah. I understand. You're making up a schedule before the year starts, right? Maybe the Galaxy LAFC should not be
game of the entire league.
A day and a half after people have to come back from around the world.
Yeah. And when you're a team like LAFC, Africa, you have 6 players coming out from international duty, coming back to a rivalry game in just 2 days away.
No offense, Mr. Schedule Maker. I know it's got to be brutal to try to make a schedule up. That's a different story for another day. I believe the old NFL, maybe it was MLB. It was back in the day, even before computer, it was a husband and wife that would do it by hand. It was amazing. But
I believe that's MLB.
Story.
Yeah, you're right.
Fascinating. But look, MLS Schedule Maker, try not to put the Galaxy LAFC, 2 teams that are usually loaded with talent, right? The best rivalry you have, as it turns out this year, top of the West. You don't know that going into a season. Try not to put them in literally hours after your international break. How about that? Again, no excuses. Galaxy deserved the win. It's for both teams. I'm saying this, now it looks like, Galaxy don't have quite as many stars that go play for their, clubs, but the game right after an international break. So another little rant there. No excuse, but Mario's right. Look at it that way. 5 halves of football we had to play before they figured it out and took it to us in one half. So we were 5-1 against the Galaxy this season, in my estimation, in 3 games. So I'll take it.
Yeah. And LAFC's been playing well on the road too. I mean, this loss snaps LAFC's club record 7-game road unbeaten streak in MLS play. Prior to the loss on Saturday, LAFC haven't lost a league game away from BMO Stadium since way back May 4th in San Jose. So when you can pick up that many points on the road, you can't be mad at that.
No, I mean, absolutely. We'll be fine. It was tough. Yeah. No excuses. The Galaxy deserved it. But we got to now focus on what it does to the West, Mario, for us.
Dave, every game just is massive now at this point, Dave. Just having this midweek game, Dave, is the best thing for LAFC right now.
I'm throwing my phone around. I'm so mad. Sorry. No, I'm just kidding. But
yeah, you just got to quickly turn the page and just start collecting points, especially, with the home game coming up against a team that's lower than you in the standings, like Austin FC is, because right now at this point in the season, it's either you're helping out your standings in the MLS Cup playoffs or you're hurting your standings in the MLS Cup playoffs. So these last 7 matches are just, every single one is just huge for LAFC. And then 4 out of these last 7 matches, Dave, are at home for LAFC. So that is very, very, very important. No, and also the very last match of the season.
Actually, 3 are at home, Mario. Sorry, 3 out of 7 are at home. We do have 4 on the road. Yeah, 3 out of 7 are
there
at home.
We go.
We have a 4th one in the Open Cup, of course, but that's that's a different beast. So we do have. Yeah. So here's how it looks for the Galaxy. Here's the bottom line. They could not beat us if we had beaten them on Saturday. They were not going to be able to hold us off. That didn't happen. They're 7 points up, Mario. So the games in hand we got to have. That just puts us right back to 1 point behind. So let's just say that goes well, right? Let's say we get the games in hand. No problem, whatever those are. Here's the Galaxy's remaining schedule. So assume we're a point behind them on even games. They've got 5 games left, including Wednesday as well. They're at Portland. They host Vancouver, at Colorado, and then a quick turnaround to host Austin, and then the final decision day at Houston. Not the easiest of schedule for the Galaxy here, going down the stretch. I mean, that's a pretty pretty tough little. You're figuring on 4 good Western Conference playoff teams, and then Austin. No disrespect to them, of course. They're going to be visiting us on Wednesday. Then they are on the road at the Galaxy on October 5th, I beg your pardon. So, I mean, it's still open. There's still a possibility.
This could come down to decision day. And that's why having that decision day game at home versus the last place team, San Jose, for LAFC,
you're right,
is a good thing, right? And Galaxy, their decision day match is on the road, and they're playing against a tough Houston team at at Shell Energy Stadium. So that decision day could be a huge day for both teams here in the West.
Yeah, it's a very good point. You mentioned San Jose. Obviously, LAFC will end the season there. They were eliminated from the playoffs, by the way. So after their loss over the weekend, officially now.
So how do they come into play against LAFC on decision day when their season is a wrap already?
Well, the scary part about them is their season's been a wrap for a while, and they can still give you fits. I mean, especially on the road for you. If you go on the road to them now, again, they're coming to BMO. Good luck with that, of course. So I feel pretty confident. Don't get me wrong, but their season's kind of been done for a while, seemingly, But they are officially eliminated. The first team in MLS to officially be eliminated from the playoff race. The rest of the West, though, Mario, let's get into it now. Around the rest of MLS. Yeah, we know LAFC's got their work cut out from them. We're 7 points back, but 2 games in hand. Boy, this West is tightened up. When did the West all of a sudden become so much better than the East? Wow. I'm not even talking the top teams in the East are incredible. No doubt.
Yeah.
So don't misread me here. But the rest of the East, really kind of, wow, the West is tightening up and then some, man. It is game on here to finish up this season. Wow, Mario, this is
from
incredible.
From second place LAFC to 7th place Houston, there's 6 teams there, right? And they're separated by only 4 points, Dave. This is crunch time now for the Western Conference for all these teams, going all the way, every single game, all the way up until October 19th, that decision day.
And Houston got a big win over RSL. That was a bit of a help, I guess, technically for LAFC, obviously keeping RSL below us. They could have leapfrogged over LAFC. But then Colorado gets the win. Seattle gets the win. Vancouver gets the win. All big 3 points there, no doubt. There is a little separation now that Portland lost. And, Minnesota got a win, but Portland's at 40 in the 8th spot. So, yes, there's some separation from LAFC and certainly those kind of play-in game spots. But, man, you're right. 2 through 7 is game on. And obviously LAFC with a shot to still beat the Galaxy, although to give Galaxy credit, they're in good shape. But, man, worse yet, it's not even about, trying to get first at this point. You just don't want to be sliding down to 6th or 7th in the West if you mess around. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm with you. That
Houston team, Houston is so sneaky. They're a sneaky, dangerous team right now. They put a 4-1 whooping on Real Salt Lake, and they're just 4 points behind LAFC. And, with Ache, he's leading the charge over there, and he's one of those players that can rally the guys up and get them motivated and get them going, especially going into the playoffs. So he's the heartbeat of that team, but he also has talent. He has talent alongside of him with Carrasquilla, and Ponce has been good. The addition of Ponce has been very good for the Dynamo. Remember, they struggled at the beginning of the season, but who wasn't there? Ache wasn't there. He's there now,
you're right.
And that's why they're playing well.
That's true. They weren't really good at home to begin the season because he was, they missed a lot of opportunities to get points early in the year at home. They're a good road team, though. 7 road wins so far this season. That's tied with Vancouver for best in the West, certainly in terms of road wins. So they're a team that can go cause problems on the road. I mean, look, we battled to get a point from 6 out of them in back-to-back games, no doubt. So
they're always
I'd rather, I mean. The thing I still have, and I know it's last year, so I'm not basing it on last year's teams, but I don't think I'm worried about Houston coming to our place in the playoffs, if that's the case. So, not that I'm not worried about it. They could beat anybody, of course, but I feel confident if we're at home against that team. But, even in a first-round match, Mario, you still got to go there once. It's a 2-game series. So I'd rather avoid Shell Energy Stadium at all costs if I could, So let's hope either Houston continues to climb or, we just maintain our spot. And I think Houston will do more climbing up the standings, quite frankly. Although, look at these teams in this West. Who do you want to say that's going to, fall, if you will, out of the top 6 or 7? Those are great teams. Seattle's playing
look at Colorado, Colorado jumped up to 3rd place in the West with that win over Portland. And Portland's a good team, too.
And you know what Colorado has done under Chris Armas? They've reestablished that home stadium dominance up in those mountains, in that a mile high up. They've reestablished that you're not going to come in here and win. And that, that makes, now granted, they're a better team too, so they're getting some points on the road as well. They're not a great road team, but they're really reestablished, and they have the same home record as LAFC in MLS play. That's darn good. So
that's really good, yeah.
That's why they're 3rd right now. You have to do that first and foremost, especially with that altitude and that advantage. You have to win there. If you're I almost said the Rockies. If you're the Rapids in the Rockies, you gotta make that a home field. It's like RSL. It's not quite as bad at RSL. It's a little bit lower elevation. It's a hard place to go to win, though. So
Chris Armas brings that fighting spirit that he had as a player, so he brings that to that team, and they're playing very well. He has them playing very well right now.
What do you make of a Seattle? So many problems against us, but it's kind of like we're kind of their team that they just can't get. But everybody else, they can't lose right now.
Yeah, styles make fights, and when you have that certain style that knows how to beat a certain fighter, then you're going to do well. And that's what LAFC have been doing with Seattle as of late. You know, when Seattle can make those adjustments, they haven't done it yet against LAFC, but they know what to do against the rest of the league. They have something figured out. Seattle is playing very well right now. We know their tradition there of winning trophies as well. So they're going to be very dangerous heading into the playoffs as well.
Speaking of dangerous,
do they want to face LAFC in the playoffs? I don't know if that's their first choice.
No, I'm sure it isn't. They have to. They're only like the way Seattle has to feel about us is, well, we can't figure them out, but at some point we're going to accidentally beat LAFC, right? Like you have to.
Yeah.
Sorry, having a little issue there. I apologize. I'm getting so caught up with Lionel Messi. I muted my own mic. It has to begin, and then he comes back from injury in the East. Miami 3-1 win over Philly. He's responsible for all 3 goals, 2 goals and an assist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've talked about it time and time again. It's a team that's more than Lionel Messi, but if you have Lionel Messi, you're probably in good shape anyway. He's still the best player in the world, Mario.
Yeah, it's Messi, and it's a good supporting cast as well, but it is the 4 stars there that they've at Inter Miami that just know each other so well. And you can see even in Messi's goal, it was Messi's, it was a pass from Jordi Alba to Busquets, back to Alba, to Luis Suarez, and to Messi for the goal. I mean, that just sounds amazing. Saying all those names, just stringing the ball with the ease and just finesse and make it look so easy. That those guys just know each other so well. And then whenever you put Tata Martino, there's a head coach with a good supporting cast that has got the job done. That supporting cast has got the job done, Dave. That was the question mark. Yeah, they have all these stars, but what is the rest of the team going to look like? And they've looked very well. They've done the job for sure.
Absolutely. Cincinnati's a tremendous team. Columbus is a tremendous team.
Yeah.
They're not even close to Miami right now.
It's a battle for second. I mean, they've clinched their playoff spots and they're battling for second place. They have aspirations for the playoffs now.
They're 10 points ahead of Cincinnati on the same amount of games. Now, Columbus now has 1 game in hand on Inter Miami, but they're 12 points back. I mean, this is like running away and hiding. This team is so good. And I think people are, in a weird way, because of the Messi injury and how that kind of, he's been gone for a while. Let's face it. He went to Argentina. It's been a weird year to kind of see this progression. Like, you're not thinking of it as dominance necessarily because Messi doesn't have 40 goals and all, but it has been a dominating season from Inter Miami. 2 losses at home, 2 losses on the road only at 9 wins on the road. I mean, 19 wins overall already. And they still got 6 games. I mean, it is absurd how good this team is.
And Messi's goal contributions. I mean, he has 28 goal contributions in only 13 matches. 13 matches, 28 goal contributions. That's a whole lot. Just to put it into perspective, Bawanga has 26 goal contributions in 26 games.
Yeah, which is
Messi
incredible.
has 28 in 13.
I mean,
that's ridiculous.
Go farther. The greatest season I've ever seen is Carlos Vela. And 34 matches in 2019 or whatever. I think he might have played all of them, frankly, in MLS. 49 goal contributions. That is ridiculous. That's by far the greatest season ever. 34 goals, 15 assists. Messi is averaging more than 2 a game.
Yeah.
That's a pace of 50 goal, or I'm sorry, almost 70 goal contributions over a whole season. It's just, he is the greatest, and he still is. Don't give me your other players around the world. Don't tell me Kylian Mbappe is the best. No. Until Messi
would do this in any league. He would do this in any league around the world. He's not doing it just because, it's MLS or whatever. He would do this anywhere.
He's so different.
And he just came back from injury, Dave, and he could have just played a half. He could have came on in the second half, then get 30 minutes and let me get my fitness back. No. He came in, he got 2 goals and assists, played the full 90. He wants to be out there the whole entire game.
And it's so different because Lorenzo Insigne is an amazing player, right? And when he signed, it was awesome. Like, he is a great player. When he signed, all you heard from European, he's going to tear up the league. That's all we ever hear. Those words we hear so often, right? This player X is going to, he would tear up MLS. He's going to just dominate. Well, we're seeing dominance, right? And nobody's come close to that. I mean, we all thought Zlatan was, in a funny way, he's either you love him or hate him. He's a joke or he's a joker or whatever, but he was incredible on the pitch, right? Vela season, incredible, even better than Ibrahimovic. But they're not even close to this in terms of stats. But that just goes to show, he's the best player until he decides he's done playing. And I will not be convinced otherwise by not Erling Haaland, not Kylian Mbappe, not Mo Salah, not Kevin De Bruyne. They're not even close. They're not even close, as scary as that is. This guy
he has his teammate Luis Suarez. Low key, he could actually earn the Golden Boot because he's got 17 goals, and that's he's like flying under the radar with these 17 goals because everybody's thinking about Messi and how great he's having of a season. He's tied with Bouanga and Chicho right under Benteke,
exactly.
who has 18.
But the scary part about what we're saying is Suarez is a name that fits in with those other names I just mentioned, who are all incredible players, right?
Yeah.
So Messi's better than all them, but Suarez fits in with that group that is just ridiculously good, world-class type players, no question. And then, oh, by the way, they got Busquets and Alba and Diego Gomez, who's a ridiculously, incredible player in his own right. So, yeah, good luck, East. Good luck, Eastern Conference. It's going to be.
But talking about the Golden Boot, Bouanga's trying to get that. He's trying to get that Golden Boot, and he's just one goal shy of Benteke. And Bouanga does have 2 games in hand on DC United and Benteke. So we'll see how that shakes out.
He scored.
That could be another big storyline going into decision day as well. Can Bouanga catch up to them?
But I do think the 2 conferences, in terms of like overall balance, have really shifted. The East is so top heavy.
Yes.
Even forgetting Inter Miami, of course. They're like the best team in the league. They're great. So, of course, they're going to be up there. Cincinnati and Columbus are awesome. But then and the Red Bulls, we know how tough they are. Orlando, 5th, 40 points, 11, 10, and 7 record. NYCFC, 6th, 40 points, 11, 10, and 7. Charlotte is 7th with a 10, 10, and 8 record. And then you've got a team in 8th in Toronto that's got 15 losses, and they're in a playoff spot. They're 4 games under 500, but they're in a playoff spot. Then you've got a team in DC who's in the 9th spot with 8 wins in 29 games. 8.
And the leading goal scorer in the league,
Well, yeah, fair enough. And then Teke's doing the best he can, but and I know Minnesota is at the 39 points in the 9th spot in the West, but they're at least 500, 11 wins, 11 losses. Like the West is so much more balanced. The East is just so top heavy. Maybe because of Inter Miami just crushing everybody over there twice a year. It is. Yeah, it's very interesting how these playoffs are going to shake out, man. It's going to be wild times in MLS, and we've got a wild one coming up on Wednesday, Mario. Got to get right back to it. And Austin FC coming off a loss at Toronto. We'll visit BMO on Wednesday night, coming up September 18th. Pre-game at 7 o'clock on 710 ESPN and the ESPN LA app. Kickoff around 7:40. Got to have it. Let's get right back to it. I don't even know what happened Saturday anymore now that we talked about it on the podcast, Mario. It doesn't exist anymore. Wednesday night, baby. What are we seeing? What are we expecting against Austin?
Well, I know Austin is trying to get over that playoff bar. They're fighting for playoff life basically right now, and they're coming off a loss as well, that road loss that you said over in Toronto. But, for LAFC, this week right here, this week is huge, big opportunity to pick up points. You got the matches, this week, Wednesday night with Austin at BMO Stadium. And then you have another winnable game. It's on the road, but it's a winnable game Saturday against FC Dallas. So that's 6 points that you could possibly pick up just this week. And that would be massive for the Black and Gold in the Western Conference standings. And, it would help out with momentum going into next week. Not looking too far ahead, but it's a busy schedule. It's congested right now. Wednesday, Saturday, and then next Wednesday we have that U.S. Open Cup final versus Sporting KC. So you can build this momentum, get these next 2 wins, get these 6 points, head into that U.S. Open Cup final off of 2 big wins and 6 points, and then raise that trophy at home.
Couple of games to crush Texas. Let's do it. Wednesday and Saturday, big games. No doubt. Mario's right about that. Join us on Wednesday, pregame 7 o'clock against Austin at BMO Stadium. Kickoff a little after 7:40, right around 7:40 on 710 ESPN and the ESPN app. That's going to do it for episode 31 of LAFC Plus, the podcast with Mario Ruiz, Dave Denholm, and you. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you next week.